So I am going to make myself sort of a to-do list. So let's see, I've already paid the bills I needed to pay. I got the cats all taken care of. I've got the puppies all taken care of. So now I can focus. And I have the pugging that I'm going to share with you. I told you about yesterday. I'm going to get that set up and do some pugging and get some prep going for throwing pots. That's my goals for today. We'll see what happens. I'm determined to get some pugging done today. All of the clay is still not quite ready yet, but I wanted to show you kind of what I'm doing to mix this multicolored reclaim so that I can use it for new work. Here's the bags of clay. This bag popped off his top, so I put some more water in it. It's getting softer, but it's still not great. So I'm going to let this one set. Okay, so this one is pretty close to being ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drain the water off of these guys, and then I'll show you the next step. So I have some clean clay bags to reuse. These came with the original clay. So I clean those up so that they're ready to catch clay as I get it pugged. This clay, there's some of the buff clay. Here's some of the more red clay. You can kind of see, I'm going to show you up close, you can kind of see in the swirls there that it didn't quite fully mix last time. And that's okay. I kind of was planning on repugging all of this stuff anyway. So I'm just gonna, it's coming out in chunks because it got pretty well saturated. So I'm setting it out here on my wedging table, and I'm going to cut it up into smaller chunks, and then I'm gonna light up the pug mill. Okay, so one of the things that you need to have as part of your personality, part of your character, is the unabashed joy of sticking your hands in mud and get dirty and gross and covered, because that's part of the fun. Okay, so it does make being a solopreneur, content creator a little bit more challenging when you are playing in clay, because like I just said, it's a dirty job. So I wanted to show you a couple of things about the pug mill before I get started, and I will turn this camera around. Okay, so these are approximately 2-pound bits. You know, I do it by feel. You saw I started to tear them apart because it just doesn't matter. They don't have to be perfect. I did initially start with a wire, and that does help, but there's no point. So this is a Bailey pug mill. It's an A400, and it does have a vacuum power feature on it. So what that means is this is a de-airing pug mill. Clay goes in here in the hopper, and this is where the air pressure piece is kind of monitored. There you can see the valve here. So the compressor is down underneath, and then the clay comes out this end, this diameter, and this is a wire tool to cut it off in logs. Now, what I've done this time, and I don't know how well it's going to work, because like I said, this is kind of a muddy prospect, but I know that about every 2 inches is 1 pound of clay. And so I have measured out from the face of the pug mill here at every 2 inches. So if I go all the way to this point here, that's a full foot, and that is going to be approximately 6 pounds of clay. And I think that's about how long I want the piece to be before I cut it off. And the more consistent that is, the better. And this is just the cap that goes on the end here, like this. So that's it. It's loud and noisy, so I'm just gonna time-lapse this a little bit. And since I'm time-lapsing, I'm gonna turn on some tunes and hopefully rock out while I'm getting this process started. So you might have noticed that I'm cleaned up the pug mill. I have intentions on getting back sometime in a couple of days, but I don't know for sure when that's going to happen because I'm a single mom and I got lots going on. My kid has lots going on. So I've got the hopes that I'll get back. I'll finish those other 2 bags of clay that need to be pugged. But I really wanted to say that I think this worked out quite well, measuring out on the tape. I think that I have a little over 32, maybe almost 35 pounds of clay that just got pugged, and it's ready to go. It's great. It's mixed. It's all consistently colored now. It's great. Yeah, that worked really well. I'm pleased. So as part of kind of setting this up to be able to sit and not dry out, that black cap has a sponge on the inside that is wet, and I put that on and up against the end of the pug mill, and now I'm going to wrap the head of this hopper. I'm sure it has a technical name, I just don't know what it is. And I've got 2 bags here. I'm gonna pop over kind of the top of the hopper, and I'm gonna set that down like this and let it slide down until the clay catches it. And now, at least for a few days, this will be fine until I can get back to it. And I'll just stuff all that in there just to add more pressure against the side of the walls. And then it'll be ready to hang out until I can get back. And there's one more tip I wanted to share. You may have noticed that I was scraping stuff down and getting the clay back inside of the hopper of the pug mill. But I never ever use any metal. I only ever use wood or plastic to do that scraping. In my mind, it just protects the machine. But you'll see that I use primarily wood and plastic tools anyway. I do have metal tools and I do use them in extreme emergencies. But for the most part, in trying to keep my studio clean and everything sort of durable, long lasting, I always use plastic or wood.